All right, Shalom. I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Ha, Racha, Kwadash, Mama. Double honors to the elder apostle and the elders of GMS. Double honors to my elder as well. Salutations to the sincere Akim, pushing his truth and sincerity around the four corners of this earth. I'm Nakar Karab Ban Yasharala, coming out of the Lions Den camp of Yasharala here in Jacksonville, Florida. And now today I'll be coming out with a lesson, and the title of this lesson is Admonish Thy Brother. You know, there are some times to where you may have to admonish a brother, harshly. Sometimes it's a earnest admonishment, meaning to correct or to make right. I have three definitions right here, and for the word admonish, and you have the first definition is to warn or reprimand someone firmly. You kind of give like a hey, you get in gear, you know. Also, there's a second definition right here. You have to advise or urge someone earnestly. You might advise someone like, hey, maybe you shouldn't do it like that, or maybe you should do it like this right here, or like, hey, I need you to do so forth and so forth, and then you have the third definition, which means to warn someone of something that could be avoided. It's a warning like, hey, I don't think you should go that way, man. That might not be a good way to go. But nonetheless, these are all various forms of admonishment. I'm using the word admonishment because just. But anyways, uh, this lesson was inspired because me and the brother DeBar in this camp we was talking, and he was like, hey, oh, did you watch the last camp video? I was like, nah, I haven't watched it yet. So he was like, yo, you check it out. And he was saying, he was like, you had said Jeremiah 31:1, but what you really meant to say was Isaiah 31:1. And when I went back and watched the video, I said, yeah, that's true. Yeah, I was right. You know. And nonetheless, it was an admonishment. It wasn't harsh. It wasn't disrespectful. You know, it wasn't no mean way of saying it. It was just like this third definition, or warn, or something that can be avoided. Like saying, yo, let's. You were basically saying like, let's try to make sure that we paying attention, which is cool because it's that could confuse somebody that's following. You might be reading Amos and you may say Hosea by accident. The people that are watching, of course, I understood. The people that are watching may go to Hosea, but you reading a scripture out of Amos, and it kind of I can see where it can be confusing, but nonetheless, it's a common mistake that happens. But nonetheless, the main point of this lesson is admonish your brother, correct your brother, warn him of things that can be avoided, and you know sometimes, yeah, warn your brother. We can say the wrong scripture sometimes, or the wrong chapter when we really mean another chapter. It has happened. It probably will continue to happen. But for the most part, me and the brother, we was talking. We were just like, yeah, we both agreed on let's be a lot more, attentive to that. So the people that are watching can follow us as we go through the scriptures. He even said he made a couple of mistakes or whatever. But the point of this lesson is the title, which is Admonish Your Brother. Warn your brother, correct your brother, help him out so that small minor mistakes like that won't happen. And also that'll admonish your brother to keep your brother from doing something serious, or making a fatal mistake. But let's get to it. This is Sirach 19:13. It says, admonish a friend. It may be he hath not done it, and if he have done it, that he do it no more. So you admonish a friend. Let's say if a friend has done something, well, you admonish them, you correct them, or you let them know their mistake. And if they have done something, guess what? That admonishment will put it in his mind not to make that same mistake again, not to do that same thing again. But continuing. Verse 14, it says, admonish thy friend. It may be he hath not said it, and if he have, that he speak it not again. So, admonish your friend. If somebody that you know has said something wrong, or made a mistake and said one thing, but they meant another thing, well, hey, just admonish. Give a correction. Hey, you said this, but, you meant to say this right here, right? And you know what I'm saying, you point it out, and you be like, or you could be like, yo, you said this, but this is what you brought out, or this is what was said or done. It's simple. You admonish, i.e., you warn, you point out, so that your friend or your brother won't make the same mistake. And if they said something wrong, you let them know so that they won't say that thing again. Because we really, people really looking up to us. They really listening to what we saying. It's people following us. It's paying attention. So we have to do these things. And like I said, it was an admonishment. Brother, he was like, hey, he pointed it out. I went and found out. Like, okay, yeah, cool. You know what I'm saying? Now I know, to pay more closer attention, to make sure that when we have camp and we bringing out scriptures, to say the right chapter, the right book, so that the people that are watching, the people that are listening, if they are following along with their Bibles, they can be right up when they can be following right along behind you while you go through the scriptures. Verse 15, it says, admonish a friend, for many times it is a slander, and believe not every tale. Admonish a friend, for many times it is a slander. You also got to watch out, because you can have people lying on your brother or your friend, and it could be a slander, and you could reprimand them or warn them harshly, and it could create a problem. So, you can't believe everything. Somebody, oh, such and such. Okay, I'm check into it, look into it to see if it's true. And then if you find out it's true, whoever that friend or that brother is, you find out that they you know what I'm saying, they bunk flunking or whatever terminology you want to use, then you be like, hey, look, hey, you can't be doing all that. Bruh, you know what I'm saying? You can't be doing a cuz, you can't be doing all that. You gotta watch how you carry yourself, watch how you move. But nonetheless, this is verse 16 of Sirach 19. It says, there is one that slippeth in his speech, but not from his heart. And who is he that hath not offended with his tongue? So again, there is one that slippeth with his speech. Sometimes you can make a mistake and say one thing, but mean something else. You can slip in speech, but you didn't slip in heart, especially when it comes down to this truth. You can slip in speech. You might say a wrong scripture. You might be like, I'm in Ezekiel, and you might mean Isaiah. You might mean you in doing Deuteronomy. You might mean Leviticus. But nonetheless, the point that is being brought out, that man that brings that point out, it says there is one that slippeth within his speech, but not in from his heart, which is from his mind, from the words that he speak. Because those words that he speaks out of the heart and the mind and the spirit of Yahweh Yahushua. And it said, and who is he that hath not offended with his tongue? Which one of us have not offended or slipped up and said something? No man on this planet can say they have not done that. But nonetheless, even if you do hear a brother that bring out a scripture and he say the wrong scripture or the wrong book, the point that he's bringing out, that's what you need to be listening to. That's what you be needing to grasp. Because though he may have slipped with his tongue, he didn't slip with his heart. He didn't give you the wrong information. Verse 17, it says, admonish thy neighbor before thou threaten him, and be not angry. Give place to the law of the Most High Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. So admonish your neighbor. Correct your neighbor before you threaten him. Don't be so quick to fly off the handle about things. We got to admonish our brothers, exhort our brothers, build our brothers up. Sometimes an admonishment may come harsh. That's how it is. But for the most part, an admonishment or admonishing someone is to just point out or warn them not to do something, or to advise them against something in an earnest and a respectful manner. To point something out that somebody can avoid things. All right. What this is. Let's go to Colossians chapter 3, verse 16. It says, let the word of Hamashiach dwell in you, richly in all wisdom, teaching and admonishing one another in psalms and hymns and spiritual songs, singing with grace in your hearts to the Lord Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai. So there you go. Let the word of Hamashiach dwell in you richly in all wisdom, teaching and what? Admonishing one another, correcting, pointing out things. But again, it says, let the word, so like if I didn't say it, I'm going to say it this again. This is Colossians chapter 3, verse 16. It says, let the word of Hamashiach dwell in you richly in all wisdom. Let the Most High's word dwell in you. Let it live within. It says, let the word of Hamashiach dwell, so like it, let the word of Hamashiach dwell in you richly in all wisdom, teaching and admonishing one another in psalms and hymns and spiritual songs, singing with the grace of your hearts to the Lord. So that's what we're supposed to do. And what is these psalms and hymns and spiritual songs? The word, the truth, these scriptures, the law, the statutes, the commandment, the wisdom of Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai. That is what we're supposed to be singing to each other with these psalms and these hymns and these spiritual songs, singing with grace in our hearts, so that we can admonish our brothers and sisters in this thing, so that they can walk that right path and that straight path, that narrow path. Continue my last point, because an admonishment or admonishing somebody, you actually that's an exhortation as well. It could be an exhortation as well. Even if it was to come harsh, it still could be an exhortation. Somebody might get mad if they get warned or reprimanded firmly or harshly. They'll be mad for a time, but then eventually they'll get over it. But that's an exhortation. That's a building up, especially if you're admonishing your brother. That's a building. Yes, you're building your brother up when you do that. When you catch or see a mistake or something that a brother has done, or you see them going a certain way, then you admonish them to help them, to bring them back. If they were going left or going off or about to make a bad decision or anything, or said something wrong in a video or anything, admonish thy brother. My last point, this is 1 Timothy chapter 4, verse 13. This is, till I come, give attendance to reading, to exhortation, to doctrine. So the Lord said, until he come back, give attendance to reading, study to show yourself approved, 2 Timothy 2 and 15. Exhortation, building up your brother, admonishing your brother, and to doctrine, helping your brother stay the course. Helping your brother be like, yo, let's just make sure next time we bring out a scripture or whatever, we making sure that we saying the right book and the right scripture, so that people that are watching can follow, and we won't confuse them, because then it'll lose them, and they might have wanted to read it for themselves, but we say the wrong scripture or the wrong book, But nonetheless, that's a common mistake. It has happened. It probably will happen again. But for the most part, if you go back to Sirach and you point that out, Sirach 19, and you point it out to your friend or your brother, you helping them make sure that they don't do that same mistake again. So again, yeah, you admonish your brother, and until the Lord come back, you give attendance to reading, exhortation, building your brother up. You build your brother up by helping him recognize his mistakes. And according to doctrine. So admonish your brother. Don't do it out of anger and threat and trying to be nasty like, oh, you moving. Nah. You see it, hey, or your cousin, whoever. But again, admonish your brother, build your brother up, help your brother grow, and you'll grow as well. Shalom.